Hello. It's me and Jara. Here comes Enzo. We're all here tonight, checking in, saying what up.
What up, yo?
I
don't want to try to mess with you.
You're fine, Jara.
I love your shirt. Halloween.
It is spooky season. It's actually we're on the back side of it here. We only got a few more weeks.
Yeah, I know. How did your thing go? Your paranormal convention thing that you had that you're telling us about?
The Border Town Paracon was great. It's an all-day affair a couple of weeks ago. On a Saturday, we had I don't recall the actual numbers, but we had a little bit more than we did last year, which seems to be normal. That's the trend. Is we get a few extra people every year. They have it. This was the 7th year, I think, or was it the 6th year? I forget. But it was a lot of fun. I ran the last panel of the night, the UFO panel, and we talked about the history of the government's UFO research and how it sucks, and talked about that for a while. And I had a captive audience. Everybody was there because as soon as I shut up is when we did all the drawings for all the things that they had for all the tickets everybody bought. What do they call that?
Oh, well, you had their captive attention because they were all waiting for that.
That's right. They're just sitting there going, "Shut up! I want my prize." No, it was.
What kind of prizes did they have?
They actually had. We actually had a lot this year. We had a separate beginner starter kit for ghost hunting, UFO hunting, and cryptid hunting. It was basically a little backpack with a little compass in it and a flashlight. And some of them had different things that were specific things. Like there was a laser pointer, and the ghost hunter one had a little PKE meter thing. And I threw in a miniature version
too, right?
What's that?
It didn't cost. It was a free event.
It was a free event, but to get one of the prizes, you had to buy a raffle ticket for $1.
Oh, okay.
And and they had little buckets in there, and then they had a bunch of other things. There was scary wintertime fun kit, which was a little thing of teas and a little book of haunted stories and things like that you could have on a cold wintry night kind of a thing. And there was it was a big blanket that had a Ouija board on it for that.
Ooh, cool.
There was I'm trying to think of all the others. There were several different raffle prizes you could win.
Did you say a blanket with a Ouija board on it?
Yeah, it was a big, a plush throw kind of blanket that the front of it had all the little Ouija board letters and stuff like that on it.
Would you sleep with that blanket, Enzo?
It's a blanket, much like the board itself is just a piece of cardboard with writing on it made by Parker Brothers. It's what you do with it after that when you start.
I know, but just having something that has, what if you're sleep Ouija?
Sleep
and you accidentally ask a question.
I'm getting a strange feeling when I move the planchette down here.
Right.
Not responsible for soiled stuff, so that's on you. But I threw in on the UFO kit, I threw in a miniature version of one of these. This is a planisphere, which you can set for
that's
the time and date wherever you live, and it'll show you the constellations and all that stuff. What the sky will look like, and it's a handy thing to have so you can tell if what you're looking at is a star or a planet or maybe something else, something like that. So
right, and one of those would be handy to have rather than having to use the app on your phone, because I don't trust. Sometimes I'm not trusting my app, because my GPS lately has been weird. The orientation of the map has been going like in the wrong direction. Like usually it goes like where it shows you going forward, like on your path or whatever. And I'm following the right path, but it's like going in reverse on the screen for some reason. I don't know why.
Weird.
Oh yeah, her GPS is tripping.
Yeah, it's weird. I've tried turning the phone off and back on. I downloaded a compass, and the compass seems to be working right. But I'm all, is the poles shifting? Like, what's going on? So I don't know. Weird.
We have had a lot of solar activity the last couple of weeks. So a lot of magnetic particles in the air. I wouldn't think that it would affect it that much, not over a long period of time, because those are very short-lived for something like that would affect your phone. But
Right.
I'd be
It did
like,
it for
are
like
you?
a week. I haven't
Wow.
used my GPS since last. Well, I used it. Today it worked right, I think, actually. So yeah, I did it for like a week. It's weird. And so like for 2 days it went backwards, right? And then like for 2 days it went like it went sideways the wrong way. It was weird.
Because, well, like last week, we had one of the largest solar flares we've had for like 20 plus years. It was actually a bigger solar flare than one like we had earlier this year. What was it, May or whatever? And that was the same time where you guys may have even been able to see the northern lights down where you're at in Arizona.
There was some people seeing them in Arizona. I'm not sure where, but not right here where we're at.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah, it's because of the electromagnetic field is going crazy.
Yeah. We're actually, the electromagnetic field of the earth is actually in a weak state right now, because we are getting ready for a pole flip, a magnetic pole flip, probably within the next dozen or so years for a full flip. But it gets weaker building up to that. And so when we get solar flares and stuff like that, it's going to put off these amazing shows, because our shields are kind of down a little bit. It looks cool and you can enjoy that. However, when it does the flip, there's going to be a period of time where we're not exactly going to have a magnetic north and south pole, which means this stuff's going to come raining straight in. So, but the good news is we actually just past like the high point for this current solar activity cycle, so it should, the solar storm should start decreasing over the next year. So I think we're going to be in good shape.
I'm sure that when the poles flip, there's all kinds of just, I don't know, havoc.
Oh yeah, it'll be a mess. There's going to be like migratory birds and stuff like that are going to get confused. They're going to be like, instead of going, traveling south for the winter or north in the summer, because they have, ducks and geese have like a little magnetic thing in their head where they can detect which way is north.
Right.
Well, when the poles flip, the magnetic pole might be down. It might be way off to the east or west from wherever the U.S. is. So they're going to be flying, 90 degrees where they should be, and they're going to be very confused very fast.
Oh man. Yeah, it's that's a scary thought. Like, I don't know, I worry about airplanes when that happens.
What do you worry they'll fall out of the sky?
Yeah.
Well, for like smaller planes where all they have is just your basic compass kind of thing, to be honest, everybody has GPS in their pocket already. So that's not really affected by the magnetic flip. So I think it'll be okay. There'll be some like growing pains when it first starts going, bananas, but we should be able to react fairly quickly on that for humankind.
I hope so. I don't know. I had a nightmare the other night. My daughter had to wake me up. I'm like screaming. Ah! Loud. It was. I've been having some interest. I don't know. I don't really remember my dreams lately, but I feel like I've been.
I almost never remember my dreams.
Really? You could start if you wanted to. So what you would do is right when you wake up, you would write down. Well, you don't remember it even right when you wake up.
Like when I first open my eyes all groggy and stuff. It's like, man, I was having this crazy thing. But in like a couple of minutes, it's gone. Unless it was like something traumatic or something like that, I might remember it for a little while. But unless it was like something where I'm giving it full thought once I'm fully awake,
Yeah.
it's gone.
You know that groggy state, when you're in that groggy state when you're like, for that few minutes, you are in the theta state, and that's the same hypnotic state. So when you're in that theta state, if you could bring yourself to the point where you think of something that you desire to do or change or have, if you could just bring that thought clear into your head at that state, it's crazy how your mind will make that happen. Will change your life for that to happen. Like, that's how crazy it is. And I don't know how it happens, but your reality is from your inner mind. That's what your reality is. That's what you see, that's what you perceive, and that's your life. And it's different for everybody. Is that so weird? I think it is so weird.
I wish
imagine that
you could share your inner reality with others.
I know.
Because I feel like there's so many things that can be learned from each other if there was a way to do that. Like to actually share it so that it wasn't something that had to be conveyed or interpreted, but could just be like we hook up a cable and she just understands.
Right, just think it, Jara, like Jara.
I have a very rich inner experience, and I do. I feel like I feel like my inner experience is super awesome, and I wonder if everybody else's is like mine.
It's different.
I'm all because I don't know. I don't know. Like
there was a movie back, I think it was early 80s, called what was it, Dream Storm or Dream? So basically what it was is they had developed this technology that could record people's like thoughts and experiences, so that if you were like riding a roller coaster and all that, they had like this big ribbon type, it looked like a CD ribbon, like a reel-to-reel kind of tape, but it was like a CD, so it was like it had a laser that was shooting. It was sci-fi. But the trick part of the movie is this one of the women that worked in the lab started having a heart attack, and she put the little thing on her head and started recording it. So it recorded her actually dying and her like afterlife experience a little bit. And everybody was freaking out. The people at the company are like, no, you can't do this. This is not natural. All this. It's actually a pretty good movie. But
right.
You're not alone in wanting that idea of being able to like record people's thoughts and things like that.
Right. Or like dreams or whatever. Like if there would be a way to play it on a, I would think that with the way that AI is, because I saw on somewhere, I can't remember where I saw it, but that they had come up with, they put sensors like in on a monkey or whatever, and they showed a picture to the monkey, and then AI read the brain scans from the electrodes that were in the monkey's brain, and from the brain scan, AI recreated the images it thought the monkey was looking at, and they were almost exact like to what the picture was actually that the monkey was looking at. So I'm like, well, to me that they should be able to make a machine that can make my dreams. Because if they can, there's going to be some new movies coming out, guys. Like, I have dreams. You can make movies.
Monkey Dreams by
Dude, my whole life could be a movie for sure.
Right.
That's actually one of the plus sides I feel with AI. That we talked a little bit before the show about some of the AI things that are out there on the internet right now that you can, change words around and pictures and things like that. I think in just a few years, it's certainly not there yet, but I think in a few years you'll be able to use something you can find for free online and make your own movie that's going to be just as good as anything they throw out in the theaters nowadays.
I agree with you. And I am going to be rich. I wouldn't dare. I wouldn't dare. I'll just give my ideas to you.
Why? You should get rich.
Because I can't. I can't.
Um,
I'm allergic to money.
shut up. That's too funny. Yeah, so tonight we're just gonna talk about some silly stuff. Unless there's anything else you want to address, guys.
No, well, I was gonna actually ask something, and I forgot what it was.
Oh, great.
I will.
It'll come back to you. It'll come back to you.
It will come back.
Okay, so my first question is, what is your favorite true crime? Your favorite true crime?
I actually don't like true crime.
You don't?
Because I've had enough of that in my life.
Oh, okay. That's a good reason. That's a really good reason. Enzo, do you have a favorite crime story?
I don't know if there's a favorite. I know I looked into because I live just outside of Wichita, Kansas, and back in the late 70s, Wichita had its own serial killer, BTK, bind, torture, kill. He was this guy would break into people's houses at night and like he would use like if they had like those pull blinds, a little string on on those that you would raise and lower the blinds with, he'd rip that off of the wall and like tie people up, whole families.
Oh God.
And just torture them in front of the other people and stuff like that, and eventually kill them and stuff. And then he did a bunch of those crimes back in the 70s and then just vanished. And it's probably been about 12 years ago now. He came out of retirement, I guess, and started like poking at the local Wichita police, because it was considered an open case because they never caught him. And he was because he would always send letters to the police, because the guy was actually very, very intelligent. And there's several good documentaries out there on BTK. And basically they ended up catching him because of the computer stuff, because he was I can't remember if he was emailing him or if he was leaving like a CD or something like that for him to find. I can't remember exactly what it was now, but they managed to figure out like the computer name of the computer he was using somehow, and they backtracked it to a church where he was like a deacon at this church. He was using the church's computer to make these things, and they finally figured out who it was. And they're like, took you 40 years, but yeah, okay, yeah, it's me. You got me. You got it.
Wow, he was a church guy. It's so crazy to me that somebody can be a killer and like nobody in their family know that they're killing people. Like, how do you like kill somebody and then just go home? And like not ever like,
because a lot of people thought when he stopped that he got caught for doing some other crime and got put away or something like that, or just decide, oh, this was too close, and he like just moved way out of state someplace. No, he was like, he actually lived in a suburb of Wichita up north side of town and had been there the entire time.
Did he have a family, like a wife and stuff?
Yes, wife.
So like so he had a family, but he would break into other families' homes and tie other families up and murder them. That is so evil. Like, what the heck is wrong with people? Wow. Yikes. So they caught him though, right?
Yeah. I kind of feel like, because he was of course much older. I felt like if he had not like popped back up on the scene by basically trying to antagonize the police, they never would have caught him. They had no idea where he was or who he was or anything like that. But it was through computer forensics that they ended up catching him, and that's the only reason. I kind of think he wanted to be caught at some point or some stage. Something there. I'm sure there's probably 8 miles deep worth of psychology involved with this guy's neuroses, but he just.
I wonder why none of the families ever whooped him. You know, like if there was more of them than there was, like why they never didn't.
I don't know. He was just he knew how to be super quiet and sneak in and like one member of the family at a time to grab them in their sleep kind of a thing, because it was always late at night. It was always like very specific places in the town, like places he could easily break into. And he obviously was like observing some of these places to get to know their patterns, when they came and went to work, when they had school, when they would go to sleep, what time they got up for work, all of these things. It's one of those, he was like borderline, like super genius but evil kind of a guy, where just the amount of things that this wasn't just some dumb guy that just saw somebody and attacks him. He put a lot of really grotesque thought into a lot of it.
Right. Well, that's why I try to be as annoying as I can. That way, serial killers and kidnappers, they just leave me alone, because they're like, yeah.
But to the answer to the question is that's probably like the only true crime kind of thing I looked into, because I was living here in the area when they caught him, and I actually knew, I worked with a girl because I was still at the Air Force just up the road, and one of the women that I worked in a giant work center. There was like 300 people in it. One of the people that I knew in there, she's like, I've got a friend. She lived in the little community where he also lived, where he was part of the homeowners association in that little area that she lived in. And they had a rule that, like garbage pickup day was Tuesday. So you had, before the end of business on Tuesday, you had to bring your empty garbage cans back in. And she accidentally left them out overnight, kind of a thing. And she has a letter from, because the guy's name, his real name was Dennis Rader. And she has a complaint that basically she got like a demerit or whatever it is in this HOA that he was a part of the board of, from Dennis Rader, chastising her for leaving her garbage cans out overnight when they weren't supposed to be, signed Dennis Rader. And of course, then he becomes the BTK killer. So she has it like framed up on the walls, like, yeah, dodge the bullet.
Oh, wow. What a last name for serial killer too, huh? Rader?
Right.
Huh. Yeah. What about you? What's your favorite true crime?
My favorite true crime is about the West Memphis 3. They were 3 teenage boys in Arkansas that got accused of killing 3 other little boys in a little creek that there was right there. They were missing, and then they were found, and the cops pinned it on these 3 teenagers just because they were like goth and they looked like shady, but they didn't do it. And so out of the 3, one of them was sentenced to death, and 2 of them were sentenced to life or something. And so they didn't do it. So they stayed in there. I think, how many years did they stay in prison? They stayed in prison like from 94 to like, probably like, I don't think it's 20 years or something. It's probably right here, but I'll tell you in a second. But either way, they were innocent. All 3 of them were so innocent. And they went to the worst prisons that they could ever go through. And
hi there.
Finally, finally,
like
the
butt, everybody.
Just wanted to stick my butt in the camera while you were talking.
The movie stars and the singer, all of the music industry people were getting on their side, and they were throwing concerts and all this stuff to raise money for them and to get them out, to have them free, to have their case redone, and it worked. And they did. And so some of the celebrities that was on there was Johnny Depp, Pearl Jam, the Dixie Chicks. I can't think of anybody else right now. But they got them to get their things dismissed. So they got out. So when these guys got out, they're like, all right. So like when these guys got out, they were already, one of them was already almost completely blind, could like barely even, his bones were brittle, all this shit from being in prison.
Okay.
And so
Did they sue or whatever?
That's the thing. They had to sign this thing called an Alford plea saying that they couldn't sue them for doing it.
Why?
That's the only way they would let them out.
No way. That is not right, man.
It's messed up.
That
It's
is not
so wrong.
right.
So this whole story, I've been following it because the reason why is because when I was working nights one time, I came across this movie about them, and I realized I remember when that happened when we were a kid. I remember hearing it on the news and all this shit. So I've been kind of following it all my life. So I'm invested.
Huh.
I'm invested. And so, but turns out that the ones that they thought were killers, they're really freaking cool people.
Who killed them?
They don't know. Oh, well, they think so. There's several movies out about this. Get out of the way. We know you're the handsomest cat in the world, but you can move.
Hey, Lulu. When I say yeah, you say.
Oh, that would have been perfect if he did it. Jara gets him to talk. Anyways, so they're pretty cool. I mean, it was pretty sad what happened to them, and it's really sad what happened to the little boys. I think they think one of the stepfathers of the kids did it.
Oh wow.
It's just interesting the way how like jacked up that system was, and how they just got blamed for no reason at all,
Right?
just because they were crazy teenagers. Yeah. Can you imagine how many?
That would suck. Like, I used to have nightmares about that when I was little, about people not believing me for some reason.
Why?
I don't know.
But it could happen. See how it could happen? It happened to these
totally
people.
Happen.
It could happen to anybody.
Yeah, it could.
So that's my favorite true crime mystery.
His eyes are. Oh.
Jeez.
He's a big guy.
Cats kind of like I have a kind of a little tiny fear of cats, little tiny fear, just because they go like when they do that pushing thing with their paws, because they accidentally grab your.
Yeah, they claw you a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is Lilu that's about to attack. He's about to attack me. I'm serious. He's done. He's give me that look.
Hey, you be nice to your mom. Are you gonna get down?
Let's see. Batmom says she likes the Carter story. Carter story.
Not familiar with the Carter story.
Let me see. I'm gonna look it up. Batmama.
Oh, are you gonna attack me?
The Carter story. The Carter story, it seems, is. Oh wait, that's not them. That's the country music Carters. I know who they are. What is the Carter story? Is it about the country people? My sister says she likes Richard Ramirez. Ooh, my friend. Okay, so I have a cousin. I have a friend who is the cousin of Richard Ramirez, because he lived in El Paso, Texas, right? Where he came from. Yep, Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. He is crazy.
We had a baseline killer. Where I live right now.
I'm looking at
the area. At one time, I lived in the.
I can't find that one, Batmom. I don't think I know of it. Is it a human trafficking? Is it about human trafficking? I bet it is. So, Richard Ramirez was he was like a Hispanic guy. He came from El Paso and he rode over to Los Angeles. That Chelsea Hotel? And wait, is it in Los Angeles? Yeah, Chelsea Hotel. He stayed there and lived there for a little while he was killing a whole bunch of people. It's a famous hotel that's really old and haunted. It's also at the Chelsea Hotel is another true crime mystery about Elisa Lam. Yeah, she was missing and they couldn't find her, and then they ended up finding her in the water tank on top of the roof at the Chelsea Hotel.
Oh,
but it was all mysterious. Yeah, it was all
that's
mysterious.
like that movie, that show, TV show. How to Get Away with Murder.
Really? Yeah, it's like that. Okay.
Just don't kill people, everybody. It's not nice.
What was it? Oh yeah, so Richard Ramirez, he was just, and then he did like a lot of interviews after he was locked up, and he would just like talk about Satan, how he was like a devil worshiper and stuff, and it was kind of scary because he would like look at the camera all scary. He did an interview with one of our guys from our news, from Fox News, or the Channel 3. Yeah, I can't remember his name now, but I used to know all their names. Yeah, pretty famous. That thing got that guy famous.
That's too bad when that happened. Like, what's her face? Jody.
Oh, I love Jody. I'm a fan.
What do you mean?
Raise the roof, Jody.
She
She
murdered somebody.
murdered someone. I don't think he was being very nice to
Well, nobody deserves
her.
that. For any, we none of us need to die. We all need to be nice to each other.
Ruben.
We can all just make mud pie. I was trying to work with my pottery the other day, and I realized that I was just like making mud pie still. And before he said it.
In 1966, Carter and his co-accused John Artis were arrested for a triple homicide, which was committed at the Lafayette Bar and Grill in Paterson, New Jersey. Shortly after the killings at 2:30, a car carrying Carter, Artis, and a third man was stopped by police outside the bar while its occupants were on the way home for a nearby nightclub. They were allowed to go on their way, but after dropping off the third man, Carter and Artis were stopped and arrested while they passed the bar a second time 45 minutes later. In 1967, they were convicted of all three murders and given life sentences. Sentences were overturned in 1985. Prosecutors appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court but declined to retry the case after the appeal failed. Carter's autobiography titled The 16th Round, because he was a boxer. There's a picture of the guy. The story inspired the 1975 Bob Dylan song Hurricane and the 1999 film The Hurricane, starring Denzel Washington as Carter.
So did he ever get out that month?
Sentences were overturned in 85, so it sounds like it.
Oh.
Sounds like another case of wrong place, wrong time. Yep. You're the only one here, so you must be guilty, kind of a thing.
So he had to stay in jail all that time. That's a lot of stuff he missed.
Wow.
Oh yeah, he was emancipated. Emancipated, is that what it's called when you get set free?
I guess. I mean, if you're a slave, I don't know about if you're a prisoner.
Yeah, I think it's for a prisoner too. It's called that, right?
I don't know.
Slave.
Whoa. Oh. Okay, there's just I was gonna say.
I live in the zoo.
I was gonna say.
I've
got cats all over the place.
Oh, there's a movie with Denzel Washington about the Carter guy. That would probably be a good
called
movie.
The Hurricane. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, that was interesting. That was a good talk. How about what is your most clumsiest moment? Tell me a clumsy story.
Oh, clumsy story. Do I have a clumsy story?
Yeah.
You should tell a clumsy story of mine. I mean, I guess I don't know.
I
Just
guess
one?
not.
I wasn't very clumsy. Actually.
How come? How come I was so clumsy?
You used to skin your knees a lot.
Mm-hmm.
She skinned her knees.
I used to fall. I bounced when I fell. Yeah, I've had lots of moments.
I've been scraped by wood a lot in ways that hurt. Like I was on hanging from the bar in my house. I used to have a bar, pull-up bar that
In the doorway,
and I was like a little monkey, so I was always like swinging or flipping or whatever, climbing on things. And I was hanging on my pull-up bar, and my dad, we had a wood-burning stove in our front living room, and there was used to be like a Jack Daniels crate with kindling in it, wood for the fireplace, and I let go of the bar, and my dad had set wood right there that I didn't see, and the kindling was sticking out of the box. It scraped my spine all the way from my butt crack all the way up to the back.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, it hurt so bad. Oh, so yeah, that was clumsy. That hurt. And then I scraped my head on the log that one time we were swinging.
Yeah, I remember seeing that too. It looked like your brain. You could see your brain, but you couldn't. I just remember it looked like that. Yeah. So I had a lot of clumsy moments when we were growing up, and I used to skin everything, like my legs up bad all the time, especially when I was wearing a dress. Forget it. But that's not one of my favorite clumsy moment. My favorite clumsy moment was so there's these little bikes that you can rent here. They're like mopeds. They're called zebras. And so my friend who was living with us, she was renting one, and I was like, I want to ride that because I used to ride, dirt bikes and T8s, like the 4-wheelers and the 3-wheelers. So I was like, let me ride that. So I got on this bad boy, and it actually goes kind of fast. And it started going. I guess I was pressing because you have to press it. I don't know how I was going, but it was going, and I couldn't stop it. And I couldn't reach so the brakes were hand brakes, and my hand was so small, I couldn't reach the handbrake. And so here's my friend running after me, and she's telling me, use your hands, use your handbrake. And I couldn't reach it. Like I couldn't. And then, oh my God, I thought I was.
You were just going?
Yeah, just going. And then I hit this like curve thing, and I like went over it, popped a wheelie into the air,
oh my God.
Landed, but I didn't die.
You
And
didn't fall?
I don't think I fell. I think I still stayed on like the Dukes of Hazzard. But it was pretty clumsy because I thought for sure as I was out of control going forward, I was pretty sure I was going to go into the hospital that night.
That's scary.
But I didn't. So that was my clumsiest story. That's my favorite one, anyways.
How about you, Enzo? I don't see you as being clumsy. You look like a pretty stable dude.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't be you're probably not clumsy at all.
Oh, I had, I guess it's considered clumsy. It was probably 1989. When I was working maintenance out on the flight line when I was in the Air Force. I was TDY, which means temporary duty, meaning I was somewhere else doing my job at another base that's not my home base, is what that means. I was in Zaragoza, Spain. It was late on a Friday. The plane landed. It had finished its mission. All we had to do was put gas on it, close it up, and we had the whole weekend to ourselves in Spain. It was going to be great. And I was arrogant enough to think, I was trying to learn the whole time on, make myself better and blah, blah, blah. And we had these rickety old wooden 6-foot ladders that we would use to, climb up to certain areas to inspect things and things like that. That was actually staying on the aircraft. And they fell apart more than and were more of a hazard than just trying to jump up that high or anything else or standing on top of something else. But in any case, I had it like sitting right in front of the number 1 engine, which is if you're sitting in the pilot seat, it would be the first one on your left. So it was sitting high off of the ground, and it was very, very windy. And the wind was basically going from like the nose of the plane to the tail of the plane was the direction, which I was looking in the engine inlet because I was doing a post-flight inspection because there's a whole thing that you have to get, special certified, which I was not qualified for, but I was like kind of teaching myself how to do it. And when I stepped, I was looking in the inlet, doing the inspection thing. I was like, okay, I guess it looks good. Good enough for a Friday or whatever it is. When I stepped off of the ladder, the wind was blowing so hard, and this old wooden ladder was so rickety, it kind of walked towards the aircraft, and the wings are kind of like flexing up and down because the wind was blowing so hard. So that the wings went up, the ladder like walked right underneath the very front part, and it crunched down on top of it and put like a can opener type hole in the bottom of the ring cowling. That's the silver part of the ring in the front of the engine, which you are not allowed to have anything in. You are not allowed to weld spots. You're not allowed to patch spots because that could fly off and fly into the inlet.
Right.
So that added about 12 hours onto the rest of that day, and then everybody else on a Friday night. That everybody was thinking, hey, we're gonna get. So I certainly was getting the nasty looks there, and I felt about like this tall.
Did you get
Why the hell are you doing that?
It sounds like that would hurt. Did it hurt?
It hurt my pride is really all it hurt. And of course, the like 1 inch by 1 inch type gash it put into the bottom of the engine cowling. Right there, the ring cowl. So had to delay my partying downtown in Spain and getting like good food and stuff like that for 24 hours while we had to get the part and had to get the thing on there. It's certainly not it's not a short process to change that out, because you have to change out like basically like the whole round part of the front of the engine. All of that needs to come off, and the new one has to be put back on. So that took a while, and of course I wasn't qualified to do any of that. I was still a young guy at that time. So I joined in '85, and this was like '89 or so. So I hadn't been in that long, 3-4 years. And
That'd be stressful to have a job where you like are responsible.
Do you have to get? Do you get in trouble, or do you have to pay?
Yeah,
If you
like,
ruin
if you
something?
mess up,
No, like if I had like had a history of things being kind of a fuck up, basically, then there probably would have been way more repercussions. Plus, everybody that was there knew me, and they knew what I was capable of, and actually trusted me enough to do that in the first place. And they're like, "What?" And I even pulled the like unwedged the ladder from underneath the engine. It's like, no, I just sat it there, and when I stepped off, and it started walking on their own, like it was some kind of like Disney special effect, like Fantasia or something. And as I'm telling them that, the wind started because it would kind of like rocket, and the legs, it kind of like slowly moved forward while I'm trying to describe exactly that. So they saw it happen again. It didn't happen. It wasn't sitting in front of the engine at the time, but they saw it exactly what it did. And they're like, and all of them were like, "What the fuck is that?"
Crazy.
Well, all right, we're gonna order this part. We're gonna get this stuff done and all this stuff. But I learned how to do a ring cowl change very quickly on a Friday night, as it turns out. So not the training I was hoping for, but that was like one of the most horrific blunders I ever did. Like,
wow,
in this world. So
yeah, boys have way cooler clumsy moments than girls.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever have anything that.
Yeah, that was way cooler than ours.
I'll give you a really clumsy one. I'll give you a really clumsy. See my finger here? See that little lump right here? Because if you look real close, there's like a little line right there.
Table saw?
Compare to that. And to the point, when I hold it like that, you can see the difference between my other finger there. And also that's as straight as this finger will go straighter if I push it, but it's kind of like this slight bend to it. I was tightening the nut on a friend of mine was TDY, and his wife asked, "Hey, can you mow the lawn before he gets back? So it's nice, so he doesn't have to do it." "Oh yeah, sure." Can you change? We have a brand new blade for the lawnmower. Can you put the brand new blade on there so it looks good? Okay. I can't get into his tools. His tools are all I could find in his garage was just a basic crescent wrench, which you really shouldn't use if you're going to be putting like a final high torque on something, because it'll do exactly what it did to me. As I'm tightening it up, right as it starts getting first, like, "Oh, just push it. I'll give it a little more torque." And it slipped off, and basically I ended up punching the brand new blade.
Oh,
all of this was back against this knuckle.
Oh God! Oh God!
Oh my God!
Had to go to the hospital. I think it was 6 stitches, 5 or 6 stitches to put it all back together there. And ever since then, whenever I go shooting, where's my prop? Where's my toy gun for illustration purposes? Toy gun, YouTube. But whenever I'm holding it, turn this off. Whenever I'm holding it, you're always supposed to put your finger out to the side like that. But because I had that little lump there, and it's kind of hard to see. It looks to anyone else that's looking to see, is like, is he being safe, or has he got his finger on the trigger all the time? That kind of thing. Would they see this lump there, and it looks a lot like how your regular knuckle does whenever you have it like, bent. I could not tell you how many times I've ever been, almost every single time I would be on the firing range. It got to the point where I would tell them ahead of time, just so you know, don't look at this, look at this,
Right.
because you're looking at this, and that's not going to help you here because I have this extra bend or this extra
Right.
chunk of like
Mhm.
weird flesh there. I would get yelled at for having my finger on the trigger when I wasn't supposed to. It's like,
Oh,
no,
weird.
look closer. I haven't moved, have I? Look. Is my finger really on the trigger? I'm like, what the hell's wrong with your fingers?
My mom had her thumb like that. Her thumb was because she ripped her thumb off. She was riding horses, like doing a cattle thing where you get cattle from one end of the corral to the other or something, and she fell off and her thumb got caught in the bridle and it just popped off her thumb like right at the knuckle. They sewed it back on, but they sewed it on in like the wrong direction. So it was like like she couldn't bolt, let's just say. Bowling ball.
Okay, I'll give you guys a choice of the last question. We could either do your favorite mythology or folklore, or we could do your favorite conspiracy theory. One or the other.
I'll let
If they're the same thing.
No, I know, right? They're kind of the same.
Wow. Favorite.
Wait, what was the first one again?
Your favorite mythology or folklore?
I don't even know what is folklore.
Folklore,
For-
you know, story.
For whatever reason, and I don't know why, I am fascinated by, and it depends on where you are, various Native American tribes across, mostly around like where I live, the central part of the U.S., have a story about the Deer Lady.
Ooh.
And the Deer Lady is basically, if a man in the tribe is like mean or angry or like overly violent towards any of the women in the tribe, mistreats them in some way, the Deer Lady will get you.
Oh,
The Deer Lady hangs out in the woods and is part human, part deer. Like she's a land sire. That's perfect. The Batmom, she has heard the story where they would be in the woods and they would just see like from the waist up this beautiful maiden beckoning the jerk guy into the woods. And once they got into the woods, she's got like deer legs and stuff like, and just kills the person, kills the guy. So it was one of those cautionary tales of, hey, be nice to the women in camp because the Deer Lady will get you. The thing is there's still a lot of local trouble, especially in Oklahoma. Oklahoma, it's a big deal where that is a very real thing. And I actually know one of the guys I met at the Paracon this past. Well, I've actually met him 2 years ago, and I've talked with him a lot. He is also Native American himself. And he says, yes, that is a very serious thing. That is not like a tall tale or a old legend or a wives' tale. It's like, because he actually tracks sightings of the Deer Lady around in Oklahoma. So
Wow. It could be like, she could be, I don't know. I think that there could be like spirits or something that are like that watch over.
Guardians.
Like,
good night, sister.
If ghosts are real and I was a ghost, I would be a ghost. It would be that I would haunt people that don't take their carts back to the cart area. And like
I would haunt everybody. You guys are all in for it I'm going to be everywhere. I'm a visitor. I like to go visiting now. So like I will go visiting so much when I'm in spirit. Everyone's going to get a visit from me. Everyone. Anyone who knows me, you can count on it. I'm going to haunt you for sure.
yeah, I'm gonna do funny. I would be
Oh, yeah.
I would do that.
I'm going to do funny things to people too. So,
I don't have, okay, so like, that's a hard question for me to answer about. either of these questions.
Because you like them all.
Mythology. I can say what I am interested in that I would love to learn more about. I'd like to learn more about like the Native American creation stories and their mythology and their. I think
Yeah, there's probably a lot that we don't know.
it's very interesting. I just want something to make some sense. Gosh, dang it! I want something to make sense. Nothing makes any sense.
There's fringe parts of this world that they don't subscribe to that making sense thing. Like much like the deer lady. One of the other things I was going to say before about the deer lady, last thing on the deer lady, is there's stories, especially back from from the 50s to the 70s, where they would have like a town barn dance kind of a thing, where like somebody empty out their barn on a Friday, and like a town dance kind of a thing back when that was the big entertainment out in the country kind of a thing. And the deer lady would actually show up to these things because she liked the music, and she looked like this beautiful young lady, but she had cloven hooves that you could see. And if anyone noticed the hooves, she would vanish.
Huh. Shapeshifter.
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 We got a shapeshifter on our hands.
I wonder if she ever started dancing, just like with her little.
Just like.
I think it would be crazy. I wonder if there's any mythologies around like kangaroos. Because kangaroos are freaking mean, man.
And do you see their bodies? They look
They're
like
bugs.
yeah.
They're like mean.
I wonder how they came about, because that could be. I wonder if there's a mystical story for that, because that is.
They
weird.
look like, I don't know. They look like their name should be Jack.
They can slice you up just with their, what are those? Claws.
Yeah,
They have claws on their feet.
Yep.
And
Oh,
on
they
their
do?
feet.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, they can
kick
kick the shit out of you.
they balance themselves on their tail and lash out with their feet.
Kangaroos
on their
are
feet.
so weird.
You could get killed so bad by a kangaroo.
You can
Like,
get
if those are
disemboweled by one.
Yes,
Why are they so angry? I wonder.
because look at them.
I know the guys are angry because they look like cute.
They're
things.
like,
how come we're cute and like girly?
they're not
inside?
cute, dude. They're so ugly and mean. They're so mean looking.
Do you guys hear animals in voices? Because like walruses have Australian accents, and I don't know why.
Yes, I'll admit it. I do.
I
I hear animals with accents also.
that sounds like the beginning to a health. Do you hear animals? Talk to your doctor about trilogy.
Okay, I don't even know. So I don't even know what my favorite conspiracy theory is. I guess it would be. Gosh, I love them all because I believe they're all true. What's my favorite one? There's just too many. I can't pick one. That was a bad question for me to put down because
One, I don't even know what's considered.
yeah, right. I guess my favorite one
is the conspiracy theory question something that we know is bullshit, but we kind of wish it was true, or it was
or maybe we really do think it's true.
I think there's I think there's a little bit of truth in everything. There's a little bit of truth in everything.
That doesn't shorten my list much, but
No,
it doesn't shorten my list either. I guess my favorite one would be. I don't know.
I think a question would be like, which one is most perplexing?
The most
The
perplexing.
most perplexing mystery of what's the most? Yeah, what would you guys?
Okay, so here it is. I just decided my favorite one. My favorite one is I guess my favorite one is about like the Atlanteans and the, what are they called? All those the ancient people.
Um,
I don't. I can't
Sumer-
think of
Sum-
them.
Sumerian?
Oh, the Lemurian, not Lemurians.
Yeah. All of them. All of those.
All the ancient
Oh,
Yeah, all the
all of those
ancient
ancient society.
Yeah,
Have
that's
you?
my
Do you have
favorite.
Netflix? The second season of Ancient Apocalypse is out now.
I saw
Oh.
that, and it's gonna be It's gonna be United States, right? I think
It's
the very
it's
first
the
one.
Americas. It's
Yeah.
North and South America.
Right. Because yeah, that'll be interesting. They just found bodies in Petra. I guess they got some. They were able to do some stuff or whatever to scan. And there's like bodies found. Like duh.
Duh.
It's like a giant tomb. But I want to know just why there's so many things all over the world that look the same. Like what happened? What happened here? Something bad happened here, like at some time.
Duh.
Like here, I know.
Like a flood?
I know something bad happens here every day. But I mean, like it's just weird that rocks look melted everywhere, and I don't know.
But there's one that's just yours. I don't know of one that thinks that all the rocks were melted.
What do you mean?
Like
They
is there
look melted. I don't know that they were.
like
They
is
just
there
look
a theory out there about how that got that way?
what?
What?
Well,
How the megastructures were made?
Yeah.
There's
But no, all their things don't make sense. Whenever they explain it.
well,
Nobody's-
as far as like some of the like ancient megalithic structures, like Puku and places like that, where you've got these giant megalithic rocks that seem to be perfectly shaped, even like around corners and stuff like that, where you can't put a razor blade between them and all that jazz. Is that they had some level of technology that involved some kind of like polymer, where basically it made the rock like clay or softer, at least where they could kind of mold it
Right.
to fit in these very specific shapes in the wall and stuff like that, but still be anchored in there somehow.
There's
'Cause,
parts of Petra where the rock looks like a laser hit it and it like melted it, and it looks
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I've seen those too.
and it's like, what did that?
There's I follow a couple of friends. Well, we've met. We're not. I wouldn't say we're friends, but some guys I watch on YouTube that are actually down in Peru right now. They've been down there for the last week or so, going over some of those ancient sites down there. You know what I'm talking about. But they said that there are places like that where you see like Machu Picchu, which is like probably the most famous one, where you've got these angular stones that are perfectly shaped, and they say what that's what they show you on like all the documentaries, and everybody talks about, look at how it's perfectly shaped, and it's this very odd shape, but it fits in perfectly in this little slot. They said the backside of it is a total mess. It doesn't look as fancy or good as that, but that doesn't help it as far as trying to describe how they did it. It actually makes it worse. It's just this, they said the backside, it's like it's like this side is for show and this side is for structure and all that, and it looks ugly, the other side of it, kind of a thing, which I had never heard before. I'd always heard you always see the front side of it,
Yeah.
where they show you how amazing the pictures and all that stuff look. But
I wonder.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of I just see a lot of similarities on Google Earth.
But then again, they eat cooey down there, so that doesn't mean much. So
Why do you think it would be like that? Because it's just for show, or because it's staged or something? Like, why would it be like that?
oh, I don't think it's staged, because there's other similar things like that actually all over the world, all over, like in various points in Africa, all over Egypt, in Japan, Easter Island. All of these places have these giant megalithic walls made of blocks that are way too heavy for a society that's thousand, you know, 2, 3, 4,000 years ago, even and beyond, to have lifted in and left into these positions and to have carved these things out as delicately as they are, where it doesn't match up with
Yeah.
the designs of these walls and these structures. You're telling it, you know, archaeology tells us that, well, you know, they were just, all they had was, you know, copper chisels and stone hammers to do this, to build the pyramids. And that was only like a couple thousand years ago, kind of a thing. It's like,
Another
there
thing
ain't
to
no
consider
fucking
too,
way. They must
they
have
don't
had millions of slaves then doing all of the work, because there's no possible way that
Some
this
say
could
they
have
did it
happened.
with sound frequency.
right. And like nobody
Yep,
ever talks
that's
about
out
the
there.
fact that like they wouldn't have. When did they have the time to build all these things?
Exactly.
Like when
Basically,
and
they
like
were
lives.
basically one step beyond hunter-gatherer, where they had to
Right.
spend their entire day looking for food and water to survive. If you're spending all day building a giant ass pyramid, you're not going to have time to look for water and look for food. So that means someone else has to look for food and water for two people, because they've got to do it for themselves and whoever's doing the work. So now you've got like thousands of people looking for food and water, being hunter-gatherers, and thousands of people building this stuff. So now you've got this incredible amount of people that are doing, you know, one side is hunting and gathering, and the other side is, you know, building mysterious bricks that happen to fit around corners and right angles and all this other stuff perfectly, that it's still sitting there thousands and thousands of years later. That doesn't match up with that scenario. That can't be what's the actual truth is of it.
Right. Like they say that Petra was like made in like with chisels, and I'm like, that is not how. How do you even, because you can't like make rounded things with a chisel. If you mess up, you messed up. Like there's no, you know what I mean? It like
that's actually one of the arguments for it, is like the guys that I follow that are down in Peru right now. They did a live stream today, and they're like, okay, if the archaeologists are right, where, oh, you know, they just built this thing, everything that's down there in Peru, you know, Machu Picchu, this amazing place. That's like saying, you know, I think their example was the guy, the first time they ever picked up a guitar and strummed it once, they were able to recreate the entire, you know, catalog of Queen songs by the very first time,
right.
perfectly. There's no practice pyramids or walls or anything like that. Yeah, where they kind of got it half right. Oh, well, we know now not to do it on this side because it fell over. You know, no, none of those things exist.
Right. And like as an example of my thing here, everybody, like making circles is hard. I made a cornhole board with a triangle because I can't cut a circle. So yeah.
Triangle, try harder. Yeah, that's
right. So yeah, there's no practice pyramid for sure. Yeah. I don't, it's like mainstream's explanation for everything is, to me anyway, is always like, so it doesn't even come close to explaining stuff. Like not even close, not even a little tiny bit. And it's weird.
Yeah. Nobody really knows.
Like political ads, I wish they would stop like just saying stuff the way they state things, and it's totally not accurate, everybody. So
It's
none
not,
of them
and
are
everybody
ever
just
accurate.
believes everything anybody says. That's the part that bothers me. Then nobody thinks outside. Everybody just believes what the person before them believes. And that's all we have our whole history based on. So that kind of bothers me a little bit, because just like I was talking about at the beginning of the show, there's everybody's perception. There's your perception, there's my perception, and then there's reality. And none of them are the same.
Right. Well, and when the politicians are going off of like not actually giving accurate information, they're literally just giving their
Bullshit.
perception and bullshit. That's it. Like, I wonder, do they even know what their jobs are? Like, do
Can
they
they tell
vote
us?
like on stuff? Do they know what they're voting for? Like, do they act like, if we were to ask them questions about their job that they should know, I wonder if they would answer them correctly without anybody helping them give the answer. I bet you a lot of people wouldn't have any idea.
I know. If we asked them, could you describe your job description for me? I bet you they couldn't even answer it, because they don't know. And some of them are so old, they're like,
Burritos in a dog.
what? Oh yeah. No, you won't listen to the way Biden talks. Doesn't make no sense. Don't come back in. Okay.
Speaking of food, I mentioned koi earlier. If you could share the video there. These are from the guys I was talking about that are down in Peru right now.
Mm. It's coming. Hold on. Here we go. What is that?
Is this actually, I'll just I'll mute this because
What is that? Is that legs? Are those legs?
this is
that a
koi. It's what you and I would call, this is a delicacy down in Peru. It's what you and I call a guinea pig.
Oh no!
Ew, they probably taste gross.
They said it
I
tastes
can't-
like chicken.
Why though?
What would
They
it taste like
say
chicken?
because there's millions of them down there, and you eat what's around you.
Is it fried
And
like a
yeah,
think so.
these are, it's basically they fried it like a chicken,
oh?
and
That is so weird. But I guess it's
But,
weird that we eat fried chicken too.
Yeah, I guess kind of.
right.
Everything's good.
But they said it was actually, it tasted good, and it tasted basically like fried chicken, and
But
they're
it
wolfing it
looks
down.
like
Yeah, I don't want anything with feet. Like, don't bring
I
it out
know.
on with their feet still on.
I can't eat anything where I can't eat anything where its whole body fits on my plate.
Downtown, there's a Chinese
Well,
restaurant. and I
that would be
ordered
like a squirrel or something, like, or a rabbit.
Yeah, I would never eat a squirrel
No,
or a rabbit.
not with their feet still on. I mean, I'll eat one, but not with their feet still on.
Yeah, I don't know that I.
Well, it's got little potatoes there, and there's like little corns
Little
and
potatoes.
stuff
Is
there.
its head on too? Is
I
that
think
its
so.
head, or is that its neck?
Look, it's
This
his
is
face.
the head. There's the
Is
eyes.
that
There's
its
the
face?
ears.
Oh, that is not okay.
Zoom in. Can we see if that's his face?
I can't. He's like this on your plate. How could you eat him when he's all like this?
Yeah, that's
These
his-
are the back. These are the back legs.
That's his
right
little
here.
tail.
He's all. Hey, Susie. Are you gonna eat me? Are you gonna eat me, Susie? Oh, yeah.
That's not cool.
I couldn't do that. I could not do that. The whole body's just there, just like the whole body,
He just took
Yeah,
like everything's there.
it's like, hey, it's pretty good.
Are the innards are in there too?
Oh no, they gut it out. Basically you're just getting just the musculature. You're getting basically most of it is into the legs right here, and there's a little bit. They said at the end of the meal they had like 4 little like heads at the end because they didn't bother.
Oh my
Apparently you
God.
can eat the head, but they didn't go that far. But
Oh, they should put that in somebody's lunchbox. So that'd be funny.
yeah, I can't imagine it being that much different from like a squirrel or a rabbit, to be honest.
Yeah,
Rabbits do taste good.
it probably doesn't taste like bacon, huh? Is it the guinea pig?
No, not that kind of pig.
I don't.
Oh, hey, so I have something interesting I'm going to try. I'm going to grow a tomato plant and a potato plant, and then I am going to graft them, and I am going to make a single plant that grows both tomatoes and potatoes on the same plant. It grows tomatoes on top, potatoes on the bottom, baby.
I think it
I
can
was
totally
about
be
to
done.
say, wait a minute. One of those is the root, and one of those is the
Right.
flower part. So
Right. Yep. And they're in the same family. I watched it done on a YouTube channel, so it's fun.
really, you can do that?
Yeah, he made it to where the top grew different types of tomatoes and the roots grew different types of potatoes. It's awesome.
No way.
He grew like cherry tomatoes, Roman, black teardrop, something. Yeah, I was like, that's the coolest thing ever. I didn't know that you could just put plants together. Like
Well, they have that fruit tree here that has grapefruits, lemons, and oranges.
I've heard of that, where you graft on the limbs from other plants that
I'm
are
gonna make
like those are all citrus, so you can do that.
Yep.
I'm gonna be.
That would be. I would love to have one of those in my front
I
yard.
would
That'd be
too. It's just
amazing.
like a fruit salad in your
I'm
backyard.
gonna be like,
Hell yeah.
sewing all kinds of plants together. I'm gonna make. He was all, I'm gonna make ketchup and fries out of this one plant.
Oh shit, you can. It's
Yeah.
totally cool.
I know. I was like, that's awesome. I wonder what else.
Fries with ketchup. I love it.
What else can we put together? Bananas,
Cats and dogs. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So I guess that's it for tonight, guys.
Oh.
Good to see everybody. Good to see you, Enzo. We miss you all the time when we don't have our show.
Yes, I will have to. You'll have to stay tuned for my pottery to see how it works out.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see how it turns out.
She's made clay.
Yeah, I got all.
Apparently you could just don't need clay. You can just use ash. Apparently.
Right. Ash and water, everybody. Apparently. Yeah.
Wow, that you need a lot of ash.
I know. I was like, I don't think that's. I think you're forgetting about the plate there. Google, that GPT. That Gemini thing's weird too.
Oh yeah, we did a whole Gemini thing. Me and her, we talked to Gemini for a good hour one day.
Yeah, I was talking to us about how quantum computers zeros and ones at the same time.
Right. Ones and zeros.
That's a whole nother show, ladies and gentlemen.
Right, and it will be too. We will do a show about that. So thank you, everybody. If you're new here, please press the subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment and join us again. When you see us, just pop on in and see what we're talking about.
And see what kind of shirt Enzo's going to wear next.
Right. All right, everybody. Have a great week. Goodbye.
Good night.